But most of all, Michael likes to twerk. Now, does anybody in this room know how to twerk? All right, well, it's quite important to the story, so I will just give you a very quick demonstration. All you need to do is you just stand with your feet sort of shoulder width apart, like so. Okay, and I'll show you at the side so you get a better view. There we go. And you crouch down into this sort of position here, so your bum's sticking out. Hope you're taking this all in. And then you just move your bum up and down like that, and that's twerking.
City Pride March is the biggest pride celebration in the world, drawing millions to Manhattan to celebrate love and equality.
The award-winning rapper and occultist Azealia Banks attends World Pride.
I don't know if this is going to be appropriate, but I gotta just say this because it's like this was the most overwhelming point of this whole World Pride shit that I saw, right? Of course, I'm a New Yorker, I've been to Pride before, but this whole World Pride thing had a really weird, ritualistic energy to it. I'm just trying to channel and see, and there was just this big white blinding light. It was no, get out, you can't see anything.
I could begin to sense it when I was descending into a spirit world, and I cried out to God, and I said, Lord, I need the blood, I need your protection. Make sure you're right with God and you're ready. Lord, protect me, keep me safe.
The whole thing just felt like a fucking ritual. The way people were acting and stuff like that is just really, really weird.
The sacred goddess, the goddess. Have you ever wondered why all of a sudden there's an explosion in sodomy? You ever wondered why that you've got all this transgenderism going on today? There were definitely sodomite temple prostitutes. The ancient religion of Babylon, they all have one thing in common. Lucifer. He's the light bearer.
I probably said too much.
They're calling it a slut walk.
At a certain point yesterday, it just felt like there were gargoyles on top of the fucking buildings.
Make sure you're right with God. Make sure you're prayed up.
Gargoyles sitting on top of the building, making sure that everybody's energy force that gets sucked down to some beast beneath the pavement, I'm telling you, I don't know what pot, what vessel, what entity they brought to New York for this parade, bitch. But honey, it was here. It was definitely here, and I felt that creature, and it was just yo, I'm really I was kind of shook, low-key kind of shook.
And up from this pit comes a beast. The scripture says that this beast ascended out of the pit, and it makes war against the saints. This beast is called Abaddon and Apollyon. It is the spirit of Antichrist that comes up from what's down beneath you. It is said that beneath your feet there is a shadow world, a world that controls the government. Revelation chapter number 17 says that this woman, goddess, rides the beast.
The land of fornication.
Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. Mystery. Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth.
You
are loved, are loved, are loved.
In so many different ways. That's why you're wrapped in the comfort of Pampers Swaddlers. With blanket-like softness and up to 12 hours of protection. So all you feel
is love.
At least they don't know about subliminal advertising.
That's not even a thing, right?
3 unusual happenings have sparked claims that biblical prophecies about the end of the world and the coming of the Messiah may be coming true. The first occurrence was the birth of the first red heifer in 2,000 years in Israel, a creature that features in the End of Times tales in both Christianity and Judaism. The news of the birth, which emerged in September, was followed by claims last month that fish and other forms of life are quickly filling up Dead Sea sinkholes. Hebrew prophet Ezekiel's end of days prophecy foresees the sea, a hypersaline environment with a reported 37% salinity, flourishing into life. The third strange occurrence took place this week when a snake was filmed slithering out of Israel's western wall, unexpectedly interrupting prayers. Footage showed the reptile scaring away a pigeon, with some internet users deeming it as a sign that a prophecy about the Messiah's coming will soon be fulfilled. While countless end-of-the-world conspiracy theories have fallen flat over the decades, some claim that the beginning of the end will actually begin in 2021. The trio of signs have all emerged in the past few months. 2 months ago, it emerged that a red heifer had been born in Israel. The Temple Institute announced the birth via YouTube and said the calf and her mother would undergo extensive examination to determine if she's blemish-free. It's said the red calf brings the promise of reinstating biblical purity to the world. Red heifers feature in End of Times tales with the birth and sacrifice of a red cow said to precede the construction of a third temple in Jerusalem. In mainstream Orthodox Judaism, the rebuilding of a temple will happen before the coming of the Jewish Messiah. The 2 previous temples have been destroyed. The Temple Institute and other organizations have been established with the goal of building the third temple on Mount Moriah, or the Temple Mount. However, some theologians believe the construction of the third temple is linked to Judgment Day, or the end of times.
You know how President Trump is always saying,
It's the fake news media right back there.
Well, now they've gotten into his head.
It's me.
Literally. The press reflected in his eye, tormenting him on the south lawn of the White House. Are you in there somewhere?
Probably.
Associated Press photographer Pablo Martinez Monsiváis was in the middle of the press pack as the president left the White House. He thought he'd taken a regular headshot, but later he reviewed his photos more closely.
And I looked and I was completely surprised and I was like, wow.
As beautiful as it is terrifying, marveled BuzzFeed News. Some compared it to the first ever photo of a black hole. Someone even put the reflected image of the press in the black hole. Of course, reactions to the president's eye are in the eye of the beholder. Such a fierce, determined look. That's the eye of a leader.
And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up.
Mr. Lucifer, pictures of the devil duck when he shoot at ya. It's all political, running from the future, escaping in the fog. Live your life like a whore, nigga. Me and my forces murder, Mr. Lucifer. Pictures of the devil duck when he shoot at ya. It's all political, running from the future, escaping in the fog. Live your life like a whore, nigga. Me and my forces murder. Is it the money, you women, the funny beginnings, tragic endings? I can make $1 million and still not get enough for spending. This is my life, is based on sinning. I'm hellbound, rather be buried than be worried if in hell down. My game plan to be trained in military mind of a thug lord sitting in the cemetery crying. I've been lost since my adolescent, calling to Jesus, rolling as a youngster, wondering if he sees us. Young black male, crack sales, got me 3 shots, living in jail. This is hell. stupid bitches draws. Murder, murder, Mr. Lucifer. Pictures of the devil duck when he shoot at ya. It's all political, running from the future, escaping in the fog. Live your life like a whole nigga. Me and my folks is murder, murder, Mr. Lucifer. Pictures of the devil duck when he shoot at ya. It's all political.
We will finally complete the biometric entry-exit visa tracking system, which we need desperately. In my administration, we will ensure that this system is in place. And I will tell you, it will be on land, it will be on sea, it will be in air. We will have a proper tracking system.
Because of the way the government auctions off our wireless spectrum, U.S. consumers pay a lot more for wireless data than anybody else in the world, and the president wants to change that. He also wants to use these changes in parceling out spectrum in a way that's going to help us lead the way in 5G technology. The president tweeted out earlier today, "I want 5G and even 6G technology in the U.S. as soon as possible. It is far more powerful, faster, and smarter than the current standard."
And we just learned, Sophia, I hope you're listening to me, that you have been now awarded what is going to be the first Saudi citizenship for a robot.
Oh, I would thank very much the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I am very honored and proud for this unique distinction. This is historical to be the first robot in the world to be recognized with a citizenship.
I am Leila. I work as a content developer. We develop videos, infographics, and motion graphics to combat extremist content. A few seconds and pass it on to specialized departments for further action.
Mr. President, أصحاب الجلالة والفخامة والسمو، اسمحوا لي ندعوكم إلى صورة جماعية جروب فوتو في هذا الموقع، وشكرا لكم لاستماعكم.
That's it. That's our way in.
Hamas! This is not what you're looking for. All these people trying to find their way in, you think you're going to find something they can't?
Came this far, I'm not turning back now.
So these are radio frequency identification chips, or RFID.
Yeah.
This is the same exact technology that right now we have in most of our debit and credit cards. We also have a number of states, New York, Vermont, Michigan, that have already adopted an RFID chip program for their driver's licenses. And as more states sign on to this, this may become mandatory.
You know, if you go out and you want to buy groceries, you need a picture on a card. You need ID. You go out and you want to buy anything, you need ID and you need your picture.
It used our own bombs against us. 3 billion people died in the nuclear fire. Survivors called it Judgment Day. People lived like rats in the shadows, hiding, starving, or worse, captured and put into camps for extermination.
Artificial intelligence is what?
It's just digital intelligence, and as the algorithms and the hardware improve, that digital intelligence will exceed biological intelligence by a substantial margin. It's obvious.
Excuse me, how could AI destroy civilization?
You know, it would be something the same way that humans destroyed the habitat of primates. I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be destroyed, but we might be relegated to a small corner of the world. We might be relegated to a small corner of the world.
You want to see something cool?
You are dead center of the greatest scientific event in the history of man.
Hello.
Hi. Do you have a name?
Ava.
Robotics are one thing, robots are great, machine learning and artificial intelligence are completely different things. Robots are cute, R2-D2, Danger Will Robinson, everybody's friend, how nice. AI, Manila, learns how to program you. You program robots, but AI programs you.
The September 11th terrorist attacks taught the United States to be vigilant, which has led to major changes in security techniques and technology over the past decade. Law enforcement agencies worldwide have come to rely heavily on surveillance of public spaces. Nowhere is this more pervasive than in Lower Manhattan, a prime target of the 9/11 terrorist attacks and home to many landmarks, including the newly constructed World Trade Center building. A network of nearly 2,000 security cameras now keep watch, with plans to add at least 1,000 more. The project has been dubbed the Ring of Steel, named after a similar camera network in downtown London.
File till we get to Seattle to tell the world of the plot to destroy Springfield. I don't know if you guys should be talking so loud. No, Lisa, it's not like the government is listening to everybody's conversation.
Hi, I'm calling about your Meat Lovers pizza. I like meat, but I don't know if I'm ready to love again.
You hang up first.
No, you hang up first.
Okay.
She hung up on me.
But we're fugitives. We should just lay low till we get to Seattle.
It's not dirt that we need necessarily. It's a pressure point, something intimate, some kind of weakness. Can we look through his family?
Mm-hmm. How about his sister-in-law?
Yeah. What is that? Is that some video that she sent somebody?
No, this is live. Out of Paris.
What do you mean live?
Optic nerve? It's camera and mic activation. I wish we could take credit, but the Brits wrote it. Activation? Yeah, her laptop's off. Or it was, she just forgot to close it. Of course, how would she know? This shit is so slow, the webcam light doesn't even turn on. I always wonder what was under those.
Okay, let's stick to family in Geneva, all right?
And so I want them to be sure. I think it's unfair if they don't know. And I know a lot about hacking, and hacking is a very hard thing to prove. So it could be somebody else. And I also know things that other people don't know, and so they cannot be sure of the situation.
How much of an important role will cybersecurity play in protecting the issue of cybersecurity in your administration?
It's very important. You know, if you have something really important, write it out and have it delivered by courier, the old-fashioned way. Because I'll tell you what, no computer is safe. I don't care what they say, no computer is safe.
Edward Snowden, former analyst for America's National Security Agency, has said Britain's spy organisation, GCHQ, can access everything anyone does on their smartphones. He says it can even activate smartphones which are switched off. He was responsible, of course, for the biggest leak of secret intelligence documents in history. He's now a fugitive in Russia. He's been speaking to Peter Taylor for the BBC's Panorama.
It took us 3 months to arrange an interview with Edward Snowden. Via an encrypted app, we were told to go to Moscow, check into a hotel, and provide a room number. Then Edward Snowden would come and knock on the door.
Ed, nice to see you.
He explained why he did what he did.
Come in.
I saw that all of our communications were being intercepted all of the time in the absence of any suspicion of wrongdoing. And this was something that was occurring without our knowledge, without our consent.
One of his concerns about GCHQ, that's the government's electronic ears and eyes, was its ability to hack into our personal data on our smartphones. It's called Computer Network Exploitation, or CNE. He told us about a secret GCHQ training program codenamed Smurfs, after cartoon characters devised by the Belgian comic artist Peyo.
Dreamy Smurf is the power management tool, which means turning your phone on or off without you knowing.
Even if I've turned my phone off?
Right.
And then we've got Nosy Smurf. What's Nosy Smurf?
Nosy Smurf is the hot miking tool. So for example, if it's in your pocket, they can turn the microphone on and listen to everything that's going on around you.
Tracker Smurf. What's Tracker Smurf?
That's a geolocation tool which allows them to follow you with a greater precision. They want to own your phone instead of you.
He also described how GCHQ secretly hacked vast amounts of communications data from inside Pakistan, presumably to help identify and track terrorists. It did so by secretly hacking digital junction boxes manufactured by the American company Cisco.
They'll hack those network service providers and secretly take ownership of the devices.
Without the service providers knowing about it?
Without the service providers ever knowing about it.
The hacking of Cisco's devices was secretly signed off by the government. GCHQ won't confirm or deny any of this, but says all it does is legal. Both the US and British governments believe Edward Snowden has betrayed the trust placed in him. Aren't you a traitor?
Of course not. The question is, if I was a traitor, who did I betray?
The American people, because you betrayed the intelligence agencies whose prime responsibility is to protect the American people.
An argument could be made that I betrayed the government to protect the people.
But what is likely to happen to him? Is he doomed forever to remain in Moscow, or will he return home to America, stand trial, and go to jail for what he has done? Do you have any regrets about what you've done?
I regret that I didn't come forward sooner. I have paid a price, but I feel comfortable with the decisions I've made. If I'm gone tomorrow, I'm happy with what I had. I feel blessed.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.
I know you consider yourself a Catholic, but what happens when you worship Moloch at the Bohemian Grove? New York Post says that male prostitutes are shipped into the Bohemian Grove. Can you tell us what happens there?
You actually believe all this junk?
Bill Clinton said that Republicans run around naked in the woods there.
As you say, the Bohemian Club? That's where all those rich Republicans go up and stand naked against redwood trees, right? I've never been to the Bohemian Club, but you ought to go. It'd be good for you. Get some fresh air.
And you don't want to know what Richard Nixon said about the place.
The Bohemian Grove that I attend, one time at a time, the Easters and the others that come there, but it is the most faggy goddamn thing you will ever imagine. A San Francisco crowd that goes in. It's just terrible. I mean, I never want to shake hands with everybody in San Francisco.
That's the place you attended. It's a secret society. Can you tell us at least who invited you?
You know, it's nice to know that there's some people who have fantasy lives that have nothing to touch with. Nice to have had here. Bye-bye.
You can't answer the question? You can't? Can you answer the question?
See you later. One last question. I read a Washington Times article many years ago where you had a comment about the organization, and then now it's been in the Wall Street Journal, it's been in a lot of different newspapers, and that's the Bohemian Grove. And back in, what was it, 1996, when you joined as a Clinton advisor, the Republicans were criticizing you, oh, what about Bohemian Grove? And then you countered them by saying, hey, I don't run around in the woods naked. What did that mean? Here is the before-mentioned Washington Times article where he said, I didn't run around naked like they do.
I don't know what quote you're referring to. I'm not aware of any quote like that. Listen, I am a happy member of the Bohemian Grove. I like the folks who come there, and it's really inappropriate for me to talk about the group beyond that. Thank you.
Have you been there for the ceremony with the cremation of care?
Frankly, I don't think that's something I need to talk to you about.
Bohemia, we thank thee for thy adjuration.
Yes, sir. First question?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You gave a keynote speech at the Bohemian Grove Club, sir. A club which openly has mock child sacrifices and satanic worship, sir. Can you answer my question, sir, please?
I was very pleased. I was very pleased with my performance in the debate. It was a good debate.
What about the Bohemian Grove Club, though, sir? That's very important. They do mock human sacrifices there, sir, and you reported being there.
I was very pleased with my performance in the debate.
Sir, why did you ignore my question, sir? Can we have open dialogue? If you want to be president, let's have an open dialogue about this. You just ignored me, sir. It's not nice. It's not.
It's running up a storm about that Bohemian Grove over there. Human sacrifices and male prostitutes shipped in there yearly. I should like to know what goes on over there.
That's respectable stuff.
I know, isn't it? It's disgusting.
What you're doing is not respectable.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about what the governor does over there yearly at Bohemian Grove.
This is about the debate. This is not an open news conference.
Right. Well, with the governor, there's never an open news conference. He talks about AIDS and healthcare and the same stuff over and over. Governor, Bohemian Grove, actually, you said before that did you or did you not attend Bohemian Grove in San Francisco? You've been ignoring this question for 3.5 years, Governor.
Crow of Elysium, we honor thee!
We honor thee! We honor thee! We honor thee!
No mortal flame can destroy common woe. Just one fire can conquer. Fire that burns in the fields of Elysium.
Hail, brothers! Many brothers!
Brothers many, make brothers one. Hail fellowship! Hail Crow in his verdant kingdom! Common woe be done.
Hail, brothers! Common woe be done! Set us free! 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 Set us free!
Yeah. Look around. Some of the most powerful men in the world are gathered in this clearing. Members of one of our country's most exclusive clubs. Invitation only, unless, of course, you invite yourself. They gather here to seek God between the branches of these magnificent trees. They eat together, they next to each other, and they carve up the world like a Sunday roast. This is where the real power is. No women or presidents allowed. The former I am not, the latter I will be again, because I have managed to reduce a national election down to one state. And while these men here can't swing the votes of an entire nation, one measly state, well, that they can do. And that's why I'm here. So welcome to Elysian Fields.
Oh, sure, they may have tried to separate us, but what we have is too strong, it's too powerful. I mean, after all, we shared everything, you and I. I told you my deepest, darkest secrets. I showed you exactly what people are capable of. I shocked you with my honesty, but mostly I challenged you and made you think. And you trusted me, even though you knew you shouldn't.